Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Hidayah binti Taufik. In this video, I'll be explaining to you guys what is Islamic REIT.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nur Aisharis Han. I will share about types of REITs in terms of hybrid REITs.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nabila binti Siddiqui. In this video, I'll be presenting about some of the factors that need to be considered when conducting a Shariah compliance of Islamic REITs assessment.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aina Fatihah binti Ahmad Riza and I will be explaining on the Shariah guidelines of Islamic REITs and aspects that need to be scrutinized when conducting Shariah compliant assessment of REITs.
Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nurul Zahira binti Mat Sukri and today I will present about the type of REIT which is equity REITs.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nuri Izzati binti Pakar Razi and I will explain mortgage and stapled type of REIT.
REITs can be explained as a trust fund that invests in rental properties and generate income from them. The majority of REITs' profits must be distributed as dividends to its shareholders. Office complex, shopping malls, commercial structures, lands, and plantations are all examples of rental properties. Here, the rental collected from the tenants of these properties become the income of REIT. REITs are equity owners of real estate in every country. In this sense, some REITs allow funds to be invested in real estate securities, including other REITs that we call as a REIT of REITs. Some allow to provide debt to real estate that we call as a mortgage REIT, while United States allows a combination of real estate equity and debt that we know as a hybrid REIT.
Equity REITs are real estate companies that own or manage income-producing properties such as office building, shopping center, and apartment building. Also lease the space to tenants. Investing in real estate can be risky and complicated. Rather than invest directly in real estate by buying actual property, some investors instead option to put money into REITs. REITs or real estate investment trusts are companies that own and operate income-producing real estate. And equity REITs usually aimed at either buildings or acquiring real estate and maintaining them to generate income rather than selling the property once acquired or completed. This REIT involves a wide range of activities including developing, leasing, and providing building management and tenant services. There are several stakeholders that involved in REITs. Firstly is sponsor. The sponsor is a person who formed the REITs. They set up the REIT and transfer the property owned by them, the real estate asset, to the trust. Therefore, a builder or developer desire of raising funds through REITs generally play the role of a sponsor. Secondly is trustee. The trustee is person appointed by the sponsor who hold the asset on behalf of the unit holder. Manager is a trustee appointed as a manager who manage the REIT asset and is responsible for making investment decisions. The manager is typically a private company closely held by the sponsor. Unit holders are the beneficiaries of the trust who become indirect holder of REIT asset by subscribing to the units of the REIT. Unit holder can be the residents or the foreign investor. Lastly, independent valuer. Apart from the sponsor, manager and trustee, a REIT appoint a credible independent valuer who value the REIT's asset at the periodic intervals. How equity REITs work? Purchasing share of an equity REIT isn't so very different from buying share of a publicly traded company's stock. Equity REIT acquired commercial property that run the gamut from shopping center to hotel to office complex to apartment. The goal in acquiring these properties is to generate income by collecting rent from the tenants and businesses who lease the space. Some equity REITs are diversified in that they own different types of properties, while others are more specialized. An equity REIT might, for example, focus solely on hotel, while another might focus solely on shopping malls.
Second types of REITs is hybrid REITs. Hybrid REITs is a combination of equity and mortgage REITs. They invest directly in both properties and mortgage loan. This type of REITs comprise the smallest percentage of the REIT sector. They own property and make loan to real estate owner and operator. Hybrid REITs earn money through a combination of rent, capital gain, and interest. This can be a middle-of-the-road option for investors who are not sure of which REIT to choose. By including both types of investment within the hybrid REITs, investors are able to further minimize risk regardless of market trend. How to invest in hybrid REITs? Hybrid REITs like mortgage and equity REITs can be traded publicly or privately. Hybrid REITs that are publicly traded are available on the stock exchange which Bursa Saham Malaysia and are considered liquid asset. Privately traded or public non-listed REITs, however, are only available to eligible investors and may be more difficult to liquidate. Moving on to pros and cons of hybrid REITs. Hybrid REITs help to further diversify an investment portfolio. At the same time, it may help limit risk. By diversifying across both types of investment, hybrid REITs intend to get the benefit of both with less risk than if it invested in one or the other. It also can be a good option for investors who cannot decide which REITs they want to invest, so they can having both. Moreover, by having to invest in properties and mortgage loan, investor can generate income from both tenant rental payment and loan interest. Cons of hybrid REITs is low volatility generally equate to lower return. Investing in hybrid REITs come with very low volatility and equate to regular income that come from property appreciation and dividend payout, and most returns are taxed as ordinary income.
Another type of REITs is mortgage REITs, or also called M-REITs, where investors will invest in mortgage-backed securities, and related assets and earn income from the interest on these investments. This kind of REIT provides long and short-term mortgage, and in the conventional, mortgage REIT offers interest-based loans to property owners and operators. Thus, a mortgage REIT tends to be more volatile since it is influenced by movements in the interest rates. For example, assume company XYZ qualifies as a REIT and lends money to a real estate developer. Company XYZ generates income from the interest earned on the loans. Company XYZ is thus a mortgage REIT. The benefits are to allow investors to diversify by making real estate investment without taking on the risk of owning actual property, provide liquidity and credit to home mortgage markets, and provide another source of mortgage credit for business investment in commercial real estate. For a mortgage REIT to be Shariah compliant, it would have to be structured so that it is free from the element of interest and resort to globally accepted Islamic contracts, such as Ijarah, to give it a global appeal. The last REIT type is stapled REITs. These are investment vehicles that include two or more separate entities that are contractually bound to trade using a single new financial instrument. This stapled security structure cannot be bought or sold separately. An example is the KLCC REIT. KLCC REIT is Malaysia's largest real estate investment trust, and it is part of a stapled security together with KLCC Property Holding Berhad or KLCCP, forming the only stapled security in the country named KLCCP Stapled Group.
Moving on to Shariah guidelines for Islamic REITs. There are a few similarities between Islamic REITs and conventional REITs, namely the similarity of tax treatment, reception on corporate tax, stamp duty, and real property gains tax. Both REITs also require a trustee, management company, property manager, valuation, and regulatory framework. Nevertheless, the Islamic REITs are required to comply with the Shariah stipulations. A Shariah committee or advisor undertakes the Shariah compliant assessment of Islamic REITs. The Shariah committee oversees the operations of an Islamic REIT in order to ensure that its investment, deposit and financial decisions, acquisition and disposal of real estate and rental earnings and activities comply with the principles of Shariah. Other than that, supervising and ensuring all funds are managed and administered in compliance with Shariah as set out by any guidelines that has been introduced by the relevant body in the jurisdiction is also a responsibility of the Shariah committee.
The first aspect is non-permissible rental activity. As we all know, rental is the major income flow for investors. The rental activities must consist of halal or allowable sources. In other words, they must not be from financial services based on non-permissible activities such as riba, gambling, hotel, and resorts. Second is rental from a tenant who engage in mixed activities. In the situation of mixed activities by a tenant whose primary activities are acceptable by Shariah but whose other activities may include a minor degree of banned element, it is important for the SAC or Shariah advisor to conduct an appraisal of the renting contract with additional caution. In this regard, non-permissible activities should not account for more than 20% of overall turnover of Islamic REITs. Next is the technique of calculating the ratio of the rental non-permissible activities. In this context, some acceptable approach are utilization of space occupied, hours of service, or other suitable techniques as determined by the ijtihad of the Shariah advisor. This approach can be used for calculating the ratio of the rental of non-permissible activities to total rental paid by a tenant in the case of mixed activities. Next, acquisition of real estate. In general, it is illegal to buy a real estate where all of the tenants engage in illegal activity. In this situation, the requirement applies even if the percentage of the rental income from the specified real estate falls below the acceptable level of 20% of total Islamic REIT turnover.
Another aspect that need to be scrutinized when conducting Shariah compliant assessment of REITs is renting out to a new tenant. If there is a new tenant that is going to be involved in activities that are impermissible, let's say something that contradicts with Shariah, the Islamic REITs fund manager cannot allow such a tenant. The final aspect that need to be scrutinized is the risk management. The Islamic REITs are encouraged to deal with Islamic financial institutions. Islamic REITs are also allowed to take part in forward sales or purchases of currency for the purpose of risk management.
In short, the development of REITs globally has been immense, whereby Malaysia was the first to issue guidelines on Islamic REITs back in 2005. Meanwhile, the Shariah Committee plays a role that requires them to supervise the activities of the Islamic financial institutions on Islamic REITs. Islamic REITs also provides a lot of advantages to its investors that wishes to invest in real estate with the compliance of Shariah stipulations.